Okay, so I'm going to take my 10 minutes to explain a little bit about the country itself. And before we kicked off this webinar, we had a good discussion with Ian and David and Laurence regarding the size of the country and how that impacts to a big extent on the resilience. I'll talk briefly about the country, and then I'll introduce the comprehensive security model, and hopefully that sparks some ideas and good questions and conversation later on. So we are a small country. We're a country with 5.6 million citizens. And what I think is very relevant to the current situation in Finland is that we are the happiest country in the world. For the past 8 years, we've been holding this title. Now, I must say, if you ask a Finn about the happiness, you would see very confused looks. Is it really happiness? But we are satisfied with the things, the way the things are going. Now, what are the engines behind being the happiest country? And I'm sure you now understand how this impacts on resilience itself and how all this is tied together with the concept of Sisu. Finns have enormous trust in the government, and for a good reason. We are very transparent. We're globally ranked number 2 and have been for years and years in the past. Our government works well. Different branches are quite effective. There's good communication between branches and between citizens. And there are no major hiccups, haven't been for several decades now. We also we enjoy the overall safety and security in one's daily life. Finland is very, very safe country. Yeah, we can talk about the safety in healthcare. We can talk about the crime prevention and overall security of the individuals. We can talk about communication. We can talk about logistics, but like in all of the Nordic countries, the overall safety and security is quite high up there. And if you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that kind of fits into the picture. And Finns, like the Nordic countries, are very big on equality and democracy. And we actually have a reputation in USA for our embassy using something that is known as sauna diplomacy. So many of the high-level discussions, if they take place in the Finnish embassy in Washington, D.C., take place in a sauna. And I'm sure you can all imagine that that kind of removes all the titles from the participants, and it makes it very casual and very informal to discuss very difficult and challenging topics. But one of the reasons for the title of being the happiest country in the world is that it's not just happiness that is being measured. It's also measuring how unhappy people are, how much do they complain. And this is the part where Finns beat the next Nordic countries on that scale. So we are happy enough, but we don't complain. And I think that all ties up with the topics that I've introduced here. Now, the Finnish comprehensive security model is built on several different items. Obviously, the government is looking at the comprehensive security model in 56 different areas. And each ministry has their own responsibility to take care of these 56 different areas. And we also look at the security from a national level, from a regional level, and from the local level. And each of these levels have very clearly defined roles and responsibilities. Now, if I'm keeping the comprehensive security model as simple as possible, or in Finland we actually we talk about overall safety. That would be the direct translation of our perception on this one. One part of the comprehensive security is making sure that citizens themselves are prepared. So we don't see the overall security as a role or the responsibility of the government alone. It is the national government, municipal actors, counties and cities, but also every single citizen has a role. The civil protection and crisis preparedness is quite high, and our National Emergency Supply Agency has, if not reserves, but they know where to get these. And this is where private corporations and organizations are being tied in. So it would be ridiculous to think that, for example, the military would have all these supplies in time of crisis. It is the whole society that is sort of the resource for the material. We have strong cooperation between various authorities. The energy production has been shared and divided, so it's not one single source of energy and electricity. We have very strong digital and cyber defense, which has been tested during the past 3.5 years quite frequently. And we're still up here and we're using a Zoom and we're able to communicate with the rest of the world. Our critical industries have been tied up with national crisis and defense. For example, certain areas for construction work and keeping logistics running have been legally required to be able to switch from their civilian role into the military and crisis role within 6 hours. And this has been tested, if not annually, then every once in a while. And our entire infrastructure is designed to support national defense. Now, the last thing what I want to talk about our security model. As most of you might know, we have comprehensive and mandatory military service. So it's compulsory for men and voluntary for women. And basically every man between the ages of 18 to 60 years of age, and as of 1st of January next year, for the officers and specialists, it will be till the age of 65. And it's quite interesting if you walk down the street in Helsinki, every single man and many of the women that you meet have a role in the national defense or national crisis response. Our national defense program has a very interesting program that is put together every year. So it's selected individuals from the society. So they're industry leaders, they're politicians, they're regional players from municipalities that come together for 3 weeks. And all they do is they're being explained what is their role in critical situations and crisis response. And as already mentioned, our military supplies and logistics rely heavily on civilian services. So it's not just the military, it is the whole society. That being said, I think that was my 10 minutes, and I am giving the stage to our other experts.